So we have an update to Dalvin Cook. We finally have more insight into what's going on with the contract situation. Now, we don't know anything specific of what he was offered, but we officially know what his stance is, at least for right now. So Dalvin Cook is, quote, not willing to accept the current contract offer from the Dolphins, per Jeff Darlington. Dolphins still have a contract offer on the table for Cook, but he is hesitant to commit to their current proposal. Now, once again, we don't know what the details are in the contract. I'm guessing it's probably like a 1-year deal, if I had to guess. But more importantly, money-wise, we don't know what they've offered, if it's outrageous, it's criminally low, or he's just being outrageous with the money he's asking for. Now, of course, it's one of two ways. For Cook, I won't be surprised if he's looking for a contract that's around $10 million a year. I know he said he won't be willing to play for a contract that's $4 or $5 million, which is fair enough. But I think somewhere in the upper echelon, like just a little bit under the $10 million mark, like maybe like $7, $8, $9 million, is not horrible. I get it's a huge dip from what he's used to with his last contract with the Vikings. But Cook is going to have to understand what the landscape of the NFL for running backs is very harsh. We know, I made a video a couple weeks ago with the Saquon. The contracts negotiations have resumed between the Saquon and the Giants, and they are offering him $14 million a year. That was the last known, and originally he turned that down, which I said in that video was crazy. I told him, I said in the video he should run and sign that contract instantly because you're not going to get the opportunity once again. And I kind of advise the same thing for Dalvin Cook. I know you're not going to get that money. It's going to be very tough for you to do so, especially for a top caliber team. So far, we know Buffalo, Miami, the Jets are destinations that he has mentioned, specifically Buffalo and Miami. But we know with Buffalo, with the contract situation, they have around, last time I checked, like $5 million in cap. So he's going to take a severe discount. If not, the Bills aren't going to move more money around or cut players to get him. I think they're just fine with his brother, James Cook, who's on a much cheaper deal, much younger as well. I think they're okay in that direction. Miami, at first it didn't make any sense because they have such a loaded backfield, especially with using their third-round pick on a running back as well. It just didn't make any sense the amount of capital they already have in there, though. I mentioned that by how Miami is set up with the amount of talent they have and the amount of money they have invested, it kind of feels like you have to go all in and just pull the chips on the table and hope that you can cash in a Super Bowl. So in a way, I kind of understood Miami, which is the only team that has officially offered him a contract. And so far, he said no. Like, once again, we don't know the contract details of it. So it could be, the Dolphins could be lowballing him, or he's just being outrageous with the money that he's asking for. Another team that's been thrown out there is the Jets. Once again, it's a loaded backfield with Breece Hall coming back. It doesn't make sense to bring in Dalvin Cook. I don't get the reason behind that. I get you want to add talent to the team. He's elite talent, no doubt. He's one of the best running backs in the NFL. It just doesn't make any sense because before the injury, Breece Hall was doing a phenomenal job, and there was a good chance on that pace, he probably would have won Offensive Rookie of the Year. So I don't get the concept behind that. And also, Michael Carter is a decent running back as well. He played well in his rookie year as well. But, of course, with that, even though he played well, they brought in Breece Hall the year after, and now there's a chance they might bring Dalvin Cook in for Breece Hall. It doesn't make any sense. The AFC East is pretty set on getting all the top guys. Every time I see a top person out there, it's always someone in the AFC East. It's either the Patriots, Bills, Dolphins, Jets are interested in said player, for Hopkins, for Cook, it feels like for anybody that the division has some interest in one of the top guys, which is crazy. But for right now, once again, Miami's the only team that has actually offered him a contract. I would like to know what the details are because it's really going to defy who's right and wrong in this situation, in my opinion. But for this one, I'm going to take a guess and say they gave him a decent offer. Maybe $7 million, if that's the amount. I don't know what the offer is. I'm not sure offhand what the cap situation is for Miami. But I'm sure it's not amazing either. And it's kind of the same situation that I feel for Hopkins when he says he wants to go to a playoff caliber team or contender, but he also is demanding a hell of a lot of money that contenders don't have. Of course, if we switch back to Kansas City and Buffalo, that's destinations he wants to go to, but he also wants $15 million a year, and that's money that Buffalo and Kansas City don't have. Like I said, last time I checked, Buffalo had around $5 million, maybe even less than that by now. And for Kansas City, I'm sure they're probably in that similar boat. They can't give up that much money. I'm sorry, that's too much in caps. That's too much in cap to try and make up and cuts and restructures. I'm sure that those teams probably can't do that anymore. There's only so much they can do before they hit a wall, and they're stuck with the cap they have. So I kind of feel it's, and they both mentioned they'd like to team up with each other on the same team, which is not going to happen. I'm sorry. The only way for you're going to do that is you're going to have to be willing to go to a horrible team that has cap space, or an okay team that maybe if you add these two players on there, it could push them up to playoff caliber. But that delusion of they want to play with each other on the same team, not going to happen. But this is kind of parallels between him and Hopkins. They are both high quality players at their respective position. Of course, once again, Cook is one of the best running backs in the NFL. Hopkins, even though he's up there in age, he's still one of the best ones out there. Not top 10, but he's definitely one of the best in the league. But they have a delusion that they're asking for way too much money with their age and injury concerns, and also the landscape of the NFL, how it's going, especially for running backs for Dalvin Cook. Ezekiel Elliott's still available. How you feel about him, he's still available. Joe Mixon, I haven't heard anything in a while, but there was reports that he might get cut. This is like before the draft. We'll see what happens. It looks like he'll stick with the team at least for one more season. And we also have other running backs come up, like I said, for Derrick Henry, which the video I'll be posting as well with talking about Malik Willis. Derrick Henry is in the final year of his deal. He'll probably be gone after this year. Saquon Barkley, don't know the situation with that. I hope for his sake, I hope he takes the offer that he was given a couple weeks ago. No new news on that whatsoever, so we don't know what's happening with that. If he's kind of counter offer or whatever. So still uncertainty with Saquon. And for there's other ones. Alvin Kamara, he's the second highest paid running back at $15 million, though the team has tried to move him this past season. So he's probably coming, nearing the end of his deal, and he could be in the same boat as these guys. So for Dalvin Cook, I understand you want to get paid respectfully, especially for the position where you can't. It's very tough to get a second contract, but you're going to have to kind of bite the bullet and take as much as you get. It's too late in the process in the season. We're getting pretty close to the preseason soon. I don't want to say pretty soon. We're still in early July, but before you know, it's going to creep up, and before you know, it's be even tougher for Dalvin Cook to find a destination. So for this one, I kind of advise that maybe he brings his contract down. I know it's telling someone else to do with their money, but for him, it's very tough for running backs right now. It'd be a lot easier if we all knew what the details were, what the money was, because if it's a very low ball offer, I could say, yeah, Miami, that's horrible. If they're giving him like $4 million, it's like, yeah, I have no problem with Dalvin Cook walking away from that. But if I don't know the cap situation, so if I'm throwing numbers that don't make any sense, I apologize. But if it's around like $8-9 million, let's just say, I would, in my opinion, I would say you probably should take the money, because it's going to be very difficult for you to get into the double digits for the money, especially in your stage of the career, and also the state that the NFL is in right now with the season creeping up. But just want to make a quick video on that. Like I said, Miami's the only team that's offering. Once again, I expect maybe one more team to give it, kind of step up and give them an offer. But for right now, it's only one team. So let me know your thoughts down below. Do you think Dalvin Cook will end up in Miami, or where else do you think he might end up? Could it be the Jets, the Bills, or is there a team that we have not mentioned that could be a factor and come in and swoop them in the last minute? Let me know your thoughts down below. With that being said, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.